Learning to properly cut Armaflex is probably one of the most important skills you'll need. A smooth, clean cut ensures a bondable surface, which ultimately impacts the reliability of the installation. Begin with a very sharp knife or blade. Never use a serrated knife, as this will make for a ragged and uneven edge. Be sure to keep the flat of the blade perpendicular to the material, drawing it carefully to you as you apply even, steady pressure. When cutting Armaflex non-self-adhesive tubing, use the trademark writing on the tube as a guide. This makes for a nice straight cut, rather than one that spirals around the tube, which makes installation difficult. Sometimes the tubing can get flattened during shipping. If this is the case, always try to cut through the flattened side. There's an important reason for this. Look at what happens when you try to join the surfaces of a flattened piece of tubing that has not been cut on the flattened area. Notice the V-shaped gap that appears once the tubing is placed on the piping. A gap next to the piping like this is nearly impossible to eliminate during installation and could cause problems since it leaves an open area where condensation could gather. Applying the adhesive to the bond surface is another critical technique. When it comes to applying the adhesive, it's quality, not necessarily quantity, that counts. Armaflex 520 is a contact adhesive, so both surfaces should be completely covered with a thin, even coat. Depending on the temperature and humidity, the adhesive will require 3 to 5 minutes of open time prior to bonding. Adhesive should be dry to the touch, but slightly tacky under pressure when you press your fingernails against the surface and pull them away. If the right amount of dry time has been allowed, the joint will be stronger than the material itself. Recommended temperature during application of 520 adhesive is 40 degrees Fahrenheit or above. One good way to judge open time is to try joining a couple of test pieces. If you separate the pieces and strings appear, then you've put the adhesive joint together too soon. Most often, you will be applying the adhesive onto Armaflex tubing after you have already installed it on the pipe. But when this isn't possible, do not let the two surfaces touch while the glue is setting. You can prevent this by flattening the section before you apply the adhesive. You can also turn the material so that it is actually inside out and roll it into a jelly roll shape and apply the adhesive as shown. Just be careful to avoid brushing adhesive on the outside surface of the Armaflex. If you get a little adhesive on the pipe, simply slide your finger along both sides of the tubing to break the Armaflex from the pipe. Twist the tubing to break any accidental bonds with the piping. Finally, when applying adhesive to Armaflex, you'll want the adjoining surfaces to have approximately the same amount of open time for a stronger bond. Also, be sure to bond the opposite sides of the material first, and then work your way through the middle to prevent uneven bonding. When working with longer pieces, say 6 feet or greater, apply the adhesive in sections, first on one side and then on the other, switching back and forth as you cover the entire section. This ensures that the dry time of the corresponding surfaces is relatively equal. For faster installations, AP Armaflex tubes are also available with a self-seal adhesive already applied to the product. When using the Armacell self-sealing tubing, simply snap the tubing over the pipe and pinch the corner of the Armaflex foam to release the corner of the liner and peel it back in increments of 8 to 10 inches at a time on each side of the tube. Join the seams of the tubing by pinching both sides together with your thumbs. Continue this process through the length of the tube section. For extra peace of mind when it comes to self-sealing systems, Armacell also offers lap-seal dual-closure elastomeric foam insulation. Lap-seal is installed in the same manner as the regular self-seal tubing. However, after the primary seal has been made, simply peel back the release liner on the lap-seal flat and press firmly with your hand, smoothing the lap-seal up and down the length of the pipe. Installers can reduce their installation time by requesting AP Armacell White for interior exposed or open sealing applications. This product, which eliminates the need for priming or painting, is now available in convenient 18-foot lengths, so fewer joint seals are required for longer pipe runs. For more reliable pipe installations, you'll want to take advantage of the Armafix pipe hangers, which help prevent condensation at hanger locations. These pre-insulated pipe hangers are available in a wide range of thicknesses and diameters for a completely uninterrupted line of insulated pipe. They include a protective aluminum shield which is lined with self-sealing Armaflex insulation. Armafix pipe hangers not only prevent condensation at often neglected pipe hanger locations, they also fully support the pipe without any compression of the insulating material. Because you'll be applying insulation to many different shapes and sizes of piping and fittings, Armacell provides handy templates that allow you to precisely cut coverings for a variety of fittings and shapes, including 45s, 90s, T's, and etc. These templates are printed on Armaflex boxes and can be used for angle cutting on tubes in lieu of miter boxes. To use the template, place the tubing on a straight edge and align knife with correct angle. If you're making a 45-degree elbow, take half of that angle and align straight edge with the 22.5-degree line and cut. Make sure that both elbow pieces are of equal length. The dotted line on the template guide will help you make straight cuts. Repeat this process for a 90-degree elbow. Simply align knife with 45-degree line and make a nice clean cut. The pieces will fit together perfectly. This same guide may be used for fabricating T's. Make one cut on the 45-degree line, then holding pieces together, slide the tubing to one side and make the other 45-degree cut in the opposite direction. Repeat this process for the third piece and assemble as shown. Armacell also provides a set of paper templates for fabricating fitting covers using Armaflex sheets. We recommend that you transfer these paper patterns onto masonite or some other rigid material so that you can use them over and over again. To use the template, lay it flat on the Armaflex sheet and use a sharp knife to cut it out. Be sure to keep the flat of your knife at a 90-degree angle to your cutting surface to ensure a nice, straight cut that will bond perfectly later on. When you're not using templates, miter boxes will also come in handy for fabricating elbows quickly. Miter boxes can be used to do most large-size pipe fittings up to 5 IPS, and can also be used to cut covers for smaller-size pipe fittings. Armaflex provides all of the appropriate angles and directions to make numerous pipe fittings using miter boxes. These are available in the Armaflex installation manual. Let's start with elbows. To cut a larger elbow using an Armaflex template, lay the template flat on the Armaflex sheet. Cut one piece and then use the template to cut another. It takes two pieces to cut the same way to fabricate an elbow. Now, hold the pieces together with the skin side out and apply the 520 adhesive to both seam surfaces at the same time. Always brush adhesive from the center outward to give a nice thin coat all the way to the edge. Once you have applied the adhesive and have allowed an open time of 3 to 5 minutes, lay the two pieces on the flat surface skin side down. Carefully begin pushing the edges together, starting at one end and working your way all the way to the other end. Now, turn the elbow inside out and again push the pieces together from beginning to end. This will make sure you have a nice tight bond. To install the elbow on the pipe, put it in position and apply the adhesive to the joint surfaces. Begin pushing the two edges together. Start at one end, working your way through to the center. Then seal the opposite ends and work toward the center from the other direction. Sometimes you may encounter pipe elbows that are larger than the templates you have. No problem. Fabricating a cover for a large 10-inch elbow like this one is a simple matter of taking two measurements, scoring, and cutting your pieces. Just watch. First, take the throat measurement. This is the distance between the inside wells of the elbow. In this case, it is 9 5/8 inches. Using this measurement on a tape measure, swing an arc across one corner of the Armaflex sheet, scoring the material as you go. Now, Take half of the circumference of the outside of the pipe. A small strip of Armaflex works well as a measurement device. Simply wrap it around the pipe, taking care not to pull or stretch it. Mark the length necessary to go around the pipe, and then measure it. Here, the circumference is 36 inches. Half of 36 is 18, so we add this to our first measurement of 9 5/8 inches to come up with 27 5/8 inches. This is the measurement for our second arc. Again, anchor your tape measure at the same corner and swing a parallel arc above the one you've already scored. Now you're ready to cut out one side of your elbow. Lay it on another sheet and use it as a template to cut the other half of your elbow. Assemble the two sides as shown before and install on the pipe in the very same manner. Cutting covers for flanged valves is also simple, but requires a few additional cuts and measurements. Begin by measuring your outside flanges using a compass and cut circles and their inside holes where the pipe goes. For this three-way valve, we will need 3 of these donut-shaped pieces. Next, use scrap strips of Armaflex to build out the body of the valve until it is flush with the outside surface of the flanges. Adhere the Armaflex strips directly to the valve body using 520 adhesive. Using a strip of Armaflex sheet, wrap around the flanges to get its outside circumference. This is the length you will need to cover the valve body. Remember not to stretch the strip as you will wrap it around the flange. This is the longest measurement on the pattern shown and is labeled A. The length that is labeled B is, quite simply, the distance between the two opposing flanges. This rectangle is now measured and cut perfectly to fit the outside of the valve body. However, to complete our fit, we need to make 2 more semicircle cuts at either end. The diameter of the semicircles labeled C on the diagram is determined by the measurement across the throat of the valve at the point under the flange where the stem enters. Now simply cut out your marked pattern and install around the valve and the previously adhered flanges using all the skills you've already learned. The last step is to measure and cut the bonnet area of the valve. To do this, you need to make 4 measurements. The first measurement is the overall length and is determined by wrapping a strip of Armaflex around the bonnet flange and marking where the ends meet. This is labeled C on the diagram. The second measurement is the distance between the outer surface of the Armaflex flange donut and the middle of the valve body. The third measurement is the distance between the outer surface of the Armaflex donut to the closest surface of the valve body's insulation. This is labeled L2 on the diagram. The fourth and last measurement is the length of the bonnet area and is, quite simply, the difference between L1 and L2. This is labeled Y on the diagram. Using the measurements of C and L1, cut a rectangle from a sheet of Armaflex. Next, mark the sheet with a cross to show the measurement L2 at the quarter points of the length of the pattern. Now extend your tape measure to the length of measurement Y and swing an arc from each point marked plus. The radius of the arc is equal to Y. These arcs are connected with straight lines to give a smooth, scalloped edge as shown on the diagram. Cut along these guidelines and you are ready to install the final piece of your valve covering. Installing Armaflex sheets on ductwork, tanks, and vessels is very simple, whether you choose self-adhering or non-self-adhering sheets. The only difference in the installation of the self-adhering is that you simply will not be applying adhesive. It is already there for you. Regardless of the material you are using, before installing the material, be sure to wipe surfaces clean of all dirt, dust, oil, and debris using denatured alcohol. Let's begin with the ductwork, as all of the principles learned here will apply to covering the various tanks and vessel you encounter in a mechanical system. When insulating ductwork, there is one important rule to remember. Always start by covering the bottom, then the sides, and finally the top. This makes for a cleaner appearance, but it also serves an important purpose by eliminating any exposed seams on the top surface where moisture could drop down. Begin by measuring and cutting a manageable length of sheet to cover the bottom side of the ductwork. Next, cut the two side pieces so that once installed, they extend past the edge of the bottom insulation. The top edge should be sized to extend over the side insulations. Now that you've cut your sections, apply a thin coat of adhesive to the bottom sheet using a roller and working from the inside out. Apply another thin layer to the underside of the metal ductwork. After a bit of open time, apply this sheet to the ductwork using roller pin or a piece of scrap conduit to bond the two surfaces. This motion will force air from beneath the foam so that you get a 100% bond between the two surfaces. Next, begin applying the adhesive to the side pieces, but this time don't go all the way to the edge. Instead, leave a 3/4 inch of foam uncoated on the short end of the sheet. Apply a thin layer of adhesive to the corresponding metal duct, again leaving about 3/4 of an inch uncovered at the butt joint. Wait 3 to 5 minutes and then position the Armaflex so that it overlaps any previously applied Armaflex by about 1/8 of an inch, assuming there is at least one section already installed. The side pieces should completely cover the exposed edge of the bottom cover. Now, using solid, even pressure, bond the sheet with the metal, again using a rolling pin or some conduit. Compress the overlapping joint edge down to make a nice tight seal. Use a paintbrush to force 520 Armaflex adhesive between the two joints. You'll want to have all of your seams completely sealed. Now, simply repeat this process for the top surface of the ductwork. Make sure you have measured the width of Armaflex so that the top covers the outside edges of the side pieces, leaving no exposed seams on top. Keep in mind that metal ductwork is designed with a pitch on the top so that water will naturally run off. Insulation should conform to this pitch. For large installations, you may opt for Armacel's low VOC spray contact adhesive to save time and labor. This adhesive contains no chlorinated solvents and does not contain any ozone-depleting compounds. It also meets all pertinent fire and building codes. Here's what you'll need to complete a spray application: a 27-pound canister of the adhesive, a 10-foot spray hose, and a spray gun, all of which are available from Armacel. Before applying the spray adhesive, make sure your surface area is clean and dry. Next, apply Teflon tape to all of the fittings, wrapping it tightly around to ensure a leak-free seal. Finally, assemble all of your spray components, connecting the gun to the hose and the hose to the canister. All connections should be screwed on nice and tight. One important thing to remember: never shut the supply valve until the canister is completely empty. This keeps the hose under constant pressure. When applying the spray adhesive, try to maintain a 12-inch distance between the gun and the surface application. You'll always want to protect all surrounding areas from any overspray that might occur. To begin your application, first spray the metal duct, sweeping left to right and right to left. Try to overlap the sprayed areas by a minimum of 1 to 2 inches to make sure you get complete coverage. Next, apply the spray adhesive to the pre-measured and pre-cut Armaflex insulation in the same manner as the metal duct. Since your sheet has already been cut to size, you may now apply it directly to the duct. Align the first edge of the insulation with the ductwork, holding the rest of the material away from the duct. Press down slowly, working your way from the edge of the duct, making sure to avoid any gaps or air bubbles that might occur. Once the insulation is completely flat, use a weighted roller to ensure full adhesion to the duct. When your job is complete, simply coil the hose up on top of the canister, again making sure that the supply valve is left open. Then store your canister in a safe location at room temperature. When you return to your materials for the next application, You will need to clean the tip of the spray orifice by breaking off the tip of the dry adhesive. You can do this with a small knife. Once your canister is completely empty, snap off the valve and discard the components. No special disposal measures are necessary. If this is an outdoor installation or any location where your insulation could be subjected to rain or other conditions that could cause wear, you'll want to seal your project with WB Armaflex finish. This specially formulated finish is not only weather resistant, it has UV protection for sun exposure. Armaflex WB is a tough, water-based latex that is as safe to use and easy to apply as house paint, and can even be tinted to better match indoor decor. Since all elastomeric-based cellular insulations will show surface defects after prolonged UV exposure, it is recommended that it be painted if installed outdoors. Before applying the WB finish, be sure to wipe down the entire insulation surface with a damp cloth. A small amount of alcohol on the cloth will help remove any traces of powder, lubricant, dirt, and grease. Apply the finish using a brush or roller, making sure to apply 2 coats and allowing 4 hours of dry time between coats. But when you need exceptional, maintenance-free durability without painting, exclusive ArmaTough Plus is an easy, labor-saving answer. It is suitable for even the most demanding exterior ductwork applications. ArmaTough Plus, with a 10-year warranty against UV damage, offers the ultimate protection against damaging UV, acid rain, and chemical exposure without painting. To install ArmaTough Plus, follow all the same steps shown previously for insulating ducts, but add one more step: the application of the ArmaTough White Seam Tape. Armaflex White Seam Tape comes in 2 widths, 4-inch and 6-inch. The latter width should be used when covering seams on ArmaTough sheets greater than 1 inch. To get started, first measure the length of the ductwork seam to be covered and cut a piece of tape accordingly. Next, mark the top of the duct 2 inches from the edge, assuming you are using 4-inch tape. Mark it also at the other end of the duct where the section of the tape is to be applied. Now, fold the tape in half along its entire length so that the peel-away strip faces outside. Peel away one side of the folded tape. Using the 2-inch mark as your guide, begin applying one side of the folded tape to the top of the ductwork, pressing down through the length of the tape. Pull away the remaining tape and fold over, pressing it along the length of the duct. Using a plastic squeegee or other hard wedge material, smooth out all of the air bubbles and seams until you have a completely smooth tape seam. For interior ducts, it's simple to install AP Armaflex duct liner to the inside of metal ductwork. This duct liner is self-adhering, fiber-free, and its smooth surface won't attract dust. To install AP duct liner, the temperature should be between 40 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The duct surface should be clean and free of dust and rust. To apply, measure and cut a piece to fit the interior bottom surface of the duct. Peel back enough of the liner to start your seal. Align the exposed adhesive side of the foam with the corner of the metal duct and press down to bond. Now, reach behind the Armaflex sheet and peel the liner back while pressing the sheet to the surface. As you press, carefully remove the remaining backing. Be sure to press firmly when bonding the surfaces. You'll want to measure and cut the sides and tops to allow for approximately 1/8 to 1/4 inch of compression to get a nice tight seal. Learning to install Armaflex quickly and efficiently takes a little practice. Fortunately, the basic principles remain the same whether you're installing Armaflex on pipes, fittings, or ductwork. A sharp knife, a clean cut, and the careful application of adhesive, and you're on your way to an installation that outperforms and outshines any you've done before. And with each foot of piping or ductwork, you'll be improving your speed and your skills. The outcome is well worth the effort. No other installation compares in appearance or in long-term maintenance and durability than Armaflex. It looks better, it lasts longer, and it helps keep your indoor environments free of mold and fiber. Don't be surprised if you start looking for new ways to use Armaflex elastomeric foams. With such a comprehensive line of products, you can count on finding the right product to meet your most demanding situations. For more information about Armacell products and a multitude of other helpful documents, just go to our website at www.armacell.com. You'll find all the selection guidelines and product support information you need to make your first and all subsequent experiences with Armaflex elastomeric foams positive. We've seen it time and time again. Once a user understands the undeniable benefits of closed-cell technology and experiences firsthand the satisfaction of a problem-free installation such as this, there's no going back. You'll always want Armaflex on the projects you install.